Hey y'all, welcome back to the Empowering the Future of Agriculture podcast with me, Carson Osteen. Today, I'm joined by the 2024-2025 West Tennessee Regional President, Lucy Beth Jackson. Lucy Beth, if you would like to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Hey everybody, my name's Lucy Beth, and this year I've had the honor of serving, like Carson said, as the 2024-2025 West Tennessee Regional President. Not only am I part of that West Tennessee, but I'm also a part of the Paris FFA chapter up in Northwest Tennessee. It's been an honor to serve not only as the chapter vice president for 2 years, but also this year I've had the pleasure of serving as their chapter president. This is my fourth year in FFA, and it's been a whirlwind of emotions, so I can't wait to talk all about it.
Awesome. So, the first question that I ask, like absolutely everybody that comes on this podcast, is how has your FFA journey been over the years?
So, like I said, it's been had plenty ups and downs. But to start off, I did not have an ag class my first semester of my freshman year. I signed up because I was like, "Ooh, easy class, agri science, check, easy 100, we got this." So I got pulled into my ag teacher's office, like midway through the fall of my freshman year. Mind you, did not have a class. I would thought I was in so much trouble. I did not know what was going on, and he pulls me in there. He goes, I'd like you to join our conduct of chapter meetings team. And I'm like, okay. I don't really know what that is, but sure, why not? I have nothing better to do with myself. I'm a freshman. So I go to practice, we're in practice, and he comes up to me. He's like, I'd also like you to do our creed speaking. Mind you, I obviously had not learned, did not ask any follow up questions, and just like, okay, why not? So I compete in both of those things. I didn't win, but that's really what hooked me on FFA was getting the opportunity to speak to others about empowering agriculture and getting to use all of the goodness that I had been taught and getting to share with others. So that's really what launched my FFA career. But I've had the opportunity to, like I said, serve in different officer roles. But I've had the opportunity to compete on teams like CCM, solo as Creed, and prepared. But I've also done different CDEs like dairy cattle evaluation. I've done farm business management, agri science fair projects, ag sales, just a variety of different contests. Each one of them, like if you talk to me about it, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's my favorite contest. But it's not just because I say that. Like I literally just have that much joy in competing in all of those contests.
Yeah, FFA is like it's just so diverse with everything that you can do, and naming off some of the competitions that you just named off, like they're just so intriguing, and everything is so different. It's awesome. So that's there's a lot of favorites for so many people in FFA. Would you share a little bit about your favorites in FFA?
So one of my favorites, like I said, it's hard for me to pick a favorite. Contest wise, I'd probably have to say Parley and CCM. Those both go hand in hand, especially in West Tennessee. They compete on the same night as each other. And getting to look up to those Parley kids my freshman year really made an impact on me. I was actually just talking to some people earlier this week about all of the jokes that were made my freshman year, the first night of our CCM contest, that have lived on, not just through my freshman year, but into my senior year, that I can still go to those people and be like just make jokes and talk to them that aren't from my chapter but around West Tennessee. Going back to the people, like I have a friend, we went to the Cultivate and Emerge conference, which is coming up, and he didn't know anybody because he was the only guy that we brought. And so he got put in with a bunch of random guys, and he made some of his best friends that way. He still talks to them. They're from Middle Tennessee, but like it's Tennessee FFA. We all have that tight knit community that we get to watch friendships grow, not just in ourselves, but with each other. And that's something that I love. And that's probably one of my favorite parts about FFA.
Yeah, the community aspect is truly something that is far different from something that you may get with other things that you can participate in. And I know there's so many opportunities that come alongside FFA and just agriculture as a whole.
Yes.
So, starting off, I want to ask about your summer that you spent at the Tennessee Governor's School for the Agricultural Sciences. Would you like to share about your experience there?
Absolutely. Tennessee Governor's School for the Agricultural Sciences, a 1 month program early this past summer. It started in May and it ended late June, or late May, ended late June. And I had the opportunity to live on UT Martin's campus with about 40 other students and 6 counselors that are current UT Martin students. Through this, we had 5 Italian foreign exchange students, which I know friends of mine that have been on the podcast that went to Gov School have already talked about. Like, I know Caleb talked about that. I think Miracle did too, and she was on it. And then we got to travel. We got to be in college class every day with Dr. Melhorn or Dr. Smart, two of the great professors at UT Martin. And then we got to be a part of a group study project, whether it was veterinary science or it's an ag engineering type project. But then beyond that, which was amazing opportunities, like I could talk to you for literally hours, just have this whole episode about that. But we got to meet people like Governor Bill Lee or Assistant Commissioner Andy Holt or Mr. Eric Mayberry, who works at the Tennessee Farm Bureau. But it was really an opportunity for us to explore college in a secluded environment and get to see what parts of UT Martin do we love, what parts of college in general do we love, and getting to live with our friends on a campus from across the state with kids that are like, we had all of us were seniors this year. It's an opportunity for juniors and seniors, but this year was all seniors. Um, and then these are people that I got to meet. I've gotten to grow closer to them, and then it was people that I didn't know anybody from Johnson City or Bristol, Tennessee is where one of our girls was from. But like now I know so much about all of the agriculture in East Tennessee as well as the one that like in West Tennessee now. Like I've gotten to learn about the diversity, and now I've got those friends for a lifetime that I know in 10, 20 years, if they're both working at the same company, we'll have that connection that goes all the way back to our high school days. Plus, getting to know the campus and professors was something that really was enlightening. So now I can make a more educated decision on what college I might be willing or wanting to go to in this upcoming fall.
Yeah, and Gov School is just like something that is full of opportunities in itself. Like there's always something that you don't know about it, and then you're there and you see everything. So, what
I
would
went to a fishery this summer. Like I don't know how many other people can be like, yeah, I've toured a fishery because like like I toured a fishery, toured Tyson, toured Tosh. Like there's so many assets of agriculture in West Tennessee that I didn't even realize were here just because of Governor's School. Like you're applying, right?
I am?
I hope you get in because it's one of my favorite experiences that I've ever had walking on this earth.
Yeah, I got the little pamphlet that they were giving out at the fall preview day last weekend,
Yes,
and
yes.
just reading through the list of all of the tours that went on, I was like,
It's
this
crazy.
stuff, like some of this stuff is in our region, and I never even heard about it.
I didn't. Yes. I did not know we had a fishery in West Tennessee. But the very first day, they're like, "All right, guys, we're going to a fishery. Load up." And we're like, "Where's the fishery? Are we going to Florida?" Like that was my first thought.
Yeah, so the next question that I want to ask is, of course, related to Gov School too. Um, what advice would you give to someone that is applying for governor school?
So I know I've talked to a couple people that are applying this year. I know the application process is a little different than when I did it, but like this year they're doing videos, and in my year they did essays. So I know it's a little bit different, but just be your genuine self. The people that are selecting it just want to know genuinely who you are. Why do you advocate for agriculture? What makes you interested into this asset of our world? It's something that's important that our world literally revolves around, but how is that related to you, and how do you want to further that part of your education and why? So just keeping those in the like the very front of your mind when you're making your applications and recording those videos, and making sure that you have the enthusiasm that the people that are watching these videos are like, wow, that kid, they want to come here not just because they get to leave their home for a summer or for a month, but because they love agriculture and they just want to know more about it all.
Yeah, the day that the applications opened on October 1st, the first thing I see, I was going into it expecting, all right, essays, all right, I've got this, and then it says upload these videos to YouTube, and I was like,
YouTube.
yeah, so they're just gonna be out there. Um,
I'm
But
gonna look it
yeah.
up.
So if I guess if we want to know who else applied, just
Yeah, that would be one way to figure that out for sure. But
wait.
another really cool thing about governor's school is that you've got the humanities one that's going on right above you. They start about halfway through your time. So getting to like meet them, they're very different, and their application process is even more different than that. Like it's every governor's school has a different niche application process, and it's really cool to learn all about not just our scope school, but the humanities one. We got to interact with them a couple times, and that was really cool.
Yeah, the deadline is quickly approaching. I think it's like December 6th, and
Oh goodness, they moved that back too.
yeah.
For me, it was in January.
Yeah, it's I think December 6th. I might be wrong, but I think that's the deadline. So I guess I know what I'm doing this weekend, starting
Yeah,
to
for
figure out
real.
the videos. So shifting focus from Gov School to back to FFA. Um, like you said, you were elected to be our regional president this past April. Would you want to walk through the preparation that you went through to become a regional officer?
For sure. Everybody has a different process. For me, I was very blessed. We had a state officer candidate this past spring. So I got to walk alongside of him as he was going through that. I got to go through my regional officer process, and he was also a regional officer. So, like, he got to help me with that. And I got to know different aspects of that. But so I got to go to the prep courses, which is something that I wasn't really aware that happened for the regional officers. I just kind of thought of it as a state officer thing, but it was really cool because I got to travel um, all the way to through Middle Tennessee and West Tennessee for different prep courses, whether it be with Farm Bureau or UT Martin, MTSU Tech. There were a couple that I got to attend, and I attended those throughout January and February, and one in March. And then I had to work on the application. I started working on that mid February. Like right after FFA week, that was kind of when I was like, okay, I've gone to a few prep courses. I kind of know what judges are looking for. Let me start working on this essay. I spent forever on my essay just because I had so many ideas about what I wanted to write about, but putting it into words is something completely different. Um, like you said, I had filled out the essays for the governor's school portion, so like I was kind of aware on how to format the essays to make myself appear, um, in a certain way, or how I would like to, like you know how it is, make it's kind of like a self interview but in an essay. So just trying to help with that, doing that in the application. And then I had my interview on April 4th of 2024, and that was my official interview. And then you sit around for a little while. I know you got to experience this too, and you just got to wait. Luckily, I was one of the last people to go. It was me and Abby Woodward, and we're just sitting around and we're waiting, and everybody's wanting to talk about the questions. So I have to walk away so everybody can talk about the questions because I don't want to hear them. I'm not trying to cheat. Like, I do not want to be a part of that. And then I finally get cooled back. I go, and then I have to wait. Even though I was like the last person to go, I still had to wait like 45 more minutes after I took my test in the interview. That's another thing is your test. Make sure you're practicing your green hand test bank, or anything ag issues, because we had a couple ag issues, ag commodities, farm bureau related questions, committee like national or not national, statewide ag committee questions. But yeah, getting all of that, making sure all you have all your interview and everything, interviewing with some other people. Like I interviewed with my advisors and I got my application reviewed by them. Like, but you can do that with so many other people just than your advisors, which is something I think that again, going back to the family and community part of it, you can talk to regional officers, state officers from across the board that have done this in the past, and they would be 100% in helping you in whatever way they could.
Yeah, April 4th is just that was just another day. So I had the bright idea to pick the earliest time they had available.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
that
no,
that was
no.
not a good idea. So I go back for my interview, well, the quiz first, and like at the same time I'm freaking out because I may have forgot my application at the house. Besides the point. So we're sitting here trying to rush and get this printed, and then Mr. Easton and Sarah are coming up to me and they're like, "Hey, Carson, you ready?" And I'm like, "Yep, sure, here we go." Hands are about as sweaty as they can be. It's so like I was so scared. And then
No, that's so real.
walk into
Yes.
the quiz room. You're just locked in this room for like I don't know.
Yes,
And
with Mr. Tanner.
I second guessed myself. on every single question. It felt
Every single question.
I made sure to take like it felt like 20 minutes on every question.
No, I was double checking and then I was going back and triple checking and then I was checking one more time just for safe measures.
Yeah, because like there was one for sure that I wasn't super sure about,
Mhm.
but I think ended up getting it right. But whatever. Um,
I want to know what I made on that
I do
quiz.
too. I asked my advisors to like reach out and see if if there were like any kinds of um feedback, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Yeah, we never
I haven't
reached
found
out,
any.
but so
Uh,
I'm stressing out
I'll
about
bug Mr. Easton about that next time I see him.
yeah, but like I'm stressing out about the quiz, and then they're like, "All right, go stand here. You're about to go back for your interview," and I'm like,
Go
"Oh."
take your picture while you're looking
Yeah, and then
panic,
Abby
and then
Colley has her
go.
phone like up in my face, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm scared." like, and
I said, can I please go make sure that my hair looks okay? And they're like, yeah, go, have fun. I was so nervous. I was doing everything I had control over. Like, I went to the bathroom like 3 times to check to make sure my hair looked okay. I went and took my picture, and then I went back to the bathroom and made sure my hair looked okay. My hair was the only thing I had control over that day, so that's all I cared about.
and
But yeah, no, that and the quiz or the test this year, like there were some questions I was like, huh, I was not expecting that. But
exactly.
it was definitely like if you're planning on running again, like it's definitely a learning experience. Now you know to look more than just the green hand test bank.
Yeah, and you know, walking in the interview room and instantly you just see three people staring at you, and I'm like, "Oh, here it goes!" Like,
Oh yeah.
and
I've been trained to go and shake the whoever's interviewing me their hands before I interview it anyway. So like I was like, hi, mind you, I'm sweating because like I'm so nervous and my hands shake. I'm hi, I'm Lucy Beth from Paris.
no, I walk in, and that was like my full intention to go up and shake their hand. But then I was starting to think, I was like, well, do they want another pull in their hands from how sweaty mine? Like, it was just.
Literally, I was like, I gotta do it. They told me I had to shake hands. Their paper's gonna be drenched, but I've got to shake their hands.
And then I see the chair, and I'm like, I have not trained with a chair.
Oh, I did not sit down in that chair. I'm pretty sure it was not even there by the time I got in that room.
No, because I looked at the chair, and I'm like, am I supposed to sit in this? And they're like,
That's.
you do what you want to, and I'm like, okay.
I'm not gonna sit in it.
And then I proceeded to get lost. Like, that interview was a nightmare. But
It's okay. That's why you can do it again.
and then
You're getting a
waiting
do-over this spring.
and then waiting for 2 hours was another nightmare. I know for
Yeah.
next year though to, you know,
Not request the earliest time, and two, don't sit down in the chair.
yeah. So continuing, I guess back to the question. So continuing with regional office stuff, what has been like one of your favorite parts of regional office so far?
So I have loved every moment of regional office. Like I getting to know my team when we go out for dinners or wherever we're going, whether it's crumble runs or whatever it be, it's been such a blast to get to know them. But also getting to know the other regional officers, that's been so much fun because we've had such a connection, not just within our team, but people in East Tennessee, the big team in Middle Tennessee. And so getting to know all of them has been so great. But that's not even my favorite part. My favorite part, if I had to pick, would be going to contest and seeing the people I A didn't know and getting to meet them, or B did know, but I haven't gotten to see them thrive in that environment. This past week, I had the opportunity of going to the livestock judging contest, and that's a contest I've never had the guts to compete in. I'll stick with my dairy cow judging over here, where it's the same thing every time. And I know how to give reasons, but that judging 4 different types of animals is not something I have even tried to attempt just because that's a lot to do. And people that do that, I'm so proud of each and every one of you. But I getting to see those people thrive in that environment and getting to see them grow because I've gotten to watch some kids from freshman year to their senior year now and getting to watch how much they love judging livestock and love getting to grow in their reason scores or placing scores, whatever it be, in whatever contest it is. I love getting to watch people in their elements and enjoy being in their elements.
I'm gonna speak my piece on livestock judging. So so I did it my sophomore year, so last year, and it went really bad. I placed like 95th in the region out of 99 people. Um,
Oh no.
so I was like, well, better luck next time, I guess. And
I guess.
so this year we were getting ready to start it up again, and our horse judging team, like we competed in the regional level, whatever, we did fine. And I was like, all right, we're just gonna go on a shoot for state since it's open state, see what it's like. And I was like, okay, that means I don't have to shoot for livestock again. And I was like, okay, I don't have to do it, so we're fine. And then a few other people decide they want to do it, and I was like, well, I don't want to go and fail again, so I'm gonna let y'all have that. I just
You got the horse judging.
yeah,
That's
it
that's all
takes
that matters.
so much time too. Like that competition is so long, and it's just
Yes,
it
because
is
y'all start
insane.
practicing. Yeah, like I know we started practicing back in September, and then now it's November, and we're just now getting to the state contest.
Yeah, and the competition, like what, it starts around 1ish maybe and ends late.
Oh yeah,
Like I was so tired
yeah.
after
Any
that.
good judging contest?
It was wow. I don't miss that one day.
Yeah,
I actually wrote an essay about it for English the other day,
that's
and
funny.
yeah. So another question that I have about regional office. So I know you guys unfortunately have only around 5ish plus
That's crazy.
months or so left. What are you looking forward to most with the rest of your year of service?
Oh goodness. I think it's crazy that we only have 5 months left. It's really like when they say, well, first of all, it's my senior year this year, and it's been crazy to see how fast that's gone. Like I'm already almost halfway through with my senior year, but to think about the fact that I'm 7 months through with my regional officer year, honestly, is so emotional. Just because I found so much joy and satisfaction in this year, and being content in what I know, and knowing that all of the things that are good with this organization are still there, and the roots of agriculture are still there, and seeing that not just for the Paris FFA level, but on the regional level, the state level, and the national level. Like it's brought me so much joy to be involved in so many of these conversations. Um, but I would say what I'm looking forward to the most is probably to keep watching my fellow members grow, not just from my Paris FFA members, like watching our CCM team. That's been fun because they went in not knowing much, like they did opening and closing at the regional level last year, but they didn't know much past that. So it's been fun watching them. But I'm excited to watch our people on the regional level grow, getting to see the high individual and getting to announce that. I've got to announce that at both soils and livestock judging now, and getting to announce that and see the joy on their faces when they realize that what they've worked for, they've accomplished. It's so, so sweet, especially when it's some of those middle schooler babies that like they have so much fun in doing what they do, and then they found out they won. So like, oh my goodness, life is just 10 times better now. Like seeing their joy is something that reminds me and keeps me in place of why we do what we do. But then I also my last bit and piece to this question is I'm excited to compete in a few of my own regional contests this for the rest of the year, and kind of getting to be on the competitor side of it because I competed in ag sales, in marketing plan, and then I competed in dairy judging, but that's a state contest, so like I didn't get to see all my regional people there. And then marketing and sales, like that's a very secluded contest, like you do your part and then you go home type deal. So I'm excited to compete in my own regional contest and getting to shout in those areas, and it's I find so much joy in doing stuff like that.
I'm gonna talk about these middle school chapters because I am literally the biggest like fan of all of them. Like it's so exciting because at horse judging, they were naming off the the winning chapters, and like you were saying, just seeing the excitement on their face is so exciting. Like I'm like their number one fan. It feels like sometimes, but
Yes.
like that was one thing that I preached on in my little interview. I was like, I'd love to have or see us expand more towards middle school chapters, and seeing that actually come about is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, going back to that, like, I So one part of regional office, for those that don't know, is getting to host Green Hand Conference. That was so much fun because you're getting to host a bunch of first year FFA members, or maybe it's their second year if they did middle school, second or third year if they did middle school, but still they're new. They're new to this jacket. Like I know at least in our community, we have 4 smaller middle school chapters, and then 1 high school chapter. So it's like that's their first time wearing the Paris FFA jacket is when they get to be in high school age, even if they've worn their Lakewood Middle or Inman Middle chapter jackets. But like getting to watch them grow at Green Hand Conference and getting to watch your first group that's going to be a little quieter, a little more soft spoken, to your last group that's going to be like having the time of their life, and getting to see, like, I have some friends at Jeter Middle that I've seen at every contest, and I'm just like, I'm so proud of y'all for being here. And they're like, it's so good to see you. Like having those conversations and getting to see joy in them. That's where I found my joy some days.
I don't even know. Like it, I think Haywood has been working for a few years. We've been looking at starting like ag programs in our middle school, um, and
It takes time.
it really does. I think we started looking into it my freshman year, and I'm midway
Hmm.
through my junior year. So it's
It takes time.
but it's something that in the end that's going to be really really worth it. And I'm
Yes.
hoping that us, along with so many across the region and state and nation, can continue and push for that. So next question. So recently, you had the opportunity to serve as a national delegate for Tennessee. Would you share a little bit about your experience?
Of course. So, starting off my experience, we left. Well, we met up Saturday evening before national convention, and we went up and we stayed in Indianapolis that Sunday through that Friday evening, and then left that Saturday afternoon. Um, every day was a new adventure, something that I had never gotten to experience from that angle. This was my third national convention, but it was my first one, obviously, as a delegate, which is a huge opportunity to be one of Tennessee's 14 delegates. Um, I got to be on, so there's 6 different committees typically, and there was this year. So I got to be on the National FFA's 100th anniversary committee. So we called it the birthday party committee because we were just planning a big celebration of FFA, which is another like woohoo FFA. I loved it. I loved that committee. It was my baby. Um, but we had to be a part of that. It was me and Sarah Marshall in our committee, and then Mr. Inman was our delegate coordinator. So that was really fun to be a part of a committee with not just me, but with my fellow regional officer and even our state advisor was really interesting. But we did that. We so I Part of our bylaws as a regional president say that I get to go, and then all of our 8 state officers were delegates, our 3 regional, each region's president, and then the other spot was open to application. Um, in West Tennessee, the spot went to Ann Thomas Lowry. In Middle Tennessee, it went to Sarah Marshall, and then in East Tennessee, it went to Savannah Doss. Um, so they each got selected through that process, and then we went to sessions every day to talk about new motions, new ideas that we had for each aspect. Um, there was things as like there was a 100th anniversary, but there was also views on traditional and non-traditional agriculture, but also how to help 5th through 8th grade members. Or in competition, there was the competition committee. Like it was very intricate and very niche parts of or FFA that we knew that we needed to grow at, and getting our members help in getting us the growth that we needed. Um, Not every state has their entire officer team on there. Like it kind of reminded me a lot of the electoral college, whereas like Texas had like 67, and then Tennessee had 14, and then Connecticut had like 2. But it was just it was very interesting. We got to be a part of different luncheons and dinners with state staff from across the nation, as well as sponsors from across the nation. And also, so state staff, sponsors, and then our board of directors. We got to be a part of some really cool meetings with them. Um, and then what else? We also sat through business sessions. Business sessions were very interesting. It was putting Parley to life, which was really cool as a Parley kid to get to watch people move motions and previous question and amendments and all of these cool things that I've done in contests for now. This will be my fourth year. And then putting it to life, I was like, this is so cool getting to watch this getting used the correct way. Because in our school board meetings, in our farm bureau meetings, I don't know if you've ever sat through a farm bureau meeting, but our little old men sit in the back and go, I make a motion, but that is not how you make a motion in FFA. It's I move to. So it's been really, really cool to watch all of the hard work that I put in these first 3 or 4 years, get to put into actual use and watching it being used in the real world.
Yeah, it was very exciting that Tennessee was represented by 14 individuals that were y'all. Like that was, I mean, I couldn't even think of probably a better group that would have represented us. Did you say Texas had 67 delegates?
It was 60 something. I'm not
Oh
sure quite what
my
the exact.
goodness.
So what they do, they have their 12 state officers. I think they have 12.
Jeez.
And then they go through their 10 or so areas, which is like our regions.
Oh wow.
And they say, okay, president, vice president, and secretary off of each area. So each area gets 3 representatives, because I got to know some of the Texas people, and then they do parliamentary procedure not completely different, but they have different parts of their parley. So it was like, whoa, what is going on? Because it was combining not just like the 4 of them. It wasn't just like it was Connecticut where there's like 2 or 3 of them. It was 67 of them doing it differently.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, Texas and California have the most. I know Texas has 67, and then California, I don't remember how many California has, but they have a lot too. It's pretty close.
That is insane. So I guess we could talk a little bit just about nationals as a whole. Like, so I know you said this was your 3rd year going.
Mm-hmm.
Would you share like maybe what your favorite part about national convention is?
Oh goodness, that's a hard question. Um, I love National Convention for so many parts. It's where I found my love for different universities. Like, if I had to pick just any university to go to and not thinking about scholarship money or location, I would go to Oklahoma State University, OSU, go Pokes. Um, but just because I love their ag campus and getting to talk to them at National Convention got got me thinking about that. And then I went and talked to Georgia. Georgia's another school that if I didn't have to think about anything, I would go to Georgia too, like for my master's or something. Like it's a gorgeous place, and I love getting to talk to people not just from Tennessee as much as I love my Tennessee folks and I love my home. Getting to know that there's a place outside of the 4 corners of Henry County, which is where I'm from. Getting to know that there's going to be people waiting to help me grow outside of my Henry County High School, knowing that there are people that have done greater things, not just in the college world, but like this year, getting to watch Temple Grandin speak, that was amazing. Like I got to be there and listen to her and seeing that there's somewhere outside of just these 4 walls that I can go to, and knowing that there's somewhere to grow, that's probably my favorite part, because you get to see people all the way from freshmen in CCU to now college freshmen in high or in college or for like others contests, and getting to watch them have that opportunity to grow and getting to watch them have that opportunity to seek joy and have fun in whatever contest they're competing in. That's something that I love about convention.
I'm so jealous that y'all got to see Temple Grandin speak. I know we were on the way back. We leave early, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it is what it is. So I'm like sitting on the bus. I think we're going through Louisville, and I'm sitting here trying to watch it, and I'm like, because like the bus is shaking, I can't really sit
Yes.
still, and I'm like, okay, turn the volume all the way up because people are talking. You can't hear anything because the bus rattled. Like that speech was honestly one of the best I've ever heard. And
And with no, you go ahead, you go ahead.
you go ahead. I didn't have anything.
No, you're good. All I was gonna say is Tennessee this year we had the opportunity, like they rotate delegate seatings. This year we were front row for all of the RAs, all of like the pre-session, all of like the speeches. So everything, we were sitting there like literally 40 feet from whoever was speaking, and it was just like Temple Grandin is 40 feet away from me. What is going on?
Yeah, the amount of times I I think from session 1B is what I'm mainly going to talk about. Like the amount of times that I looked up and I was like, hey, I know them. And I'm like, wait. And I try to pull out my phone and snap a picture, but by the time they, changed it, I was like, wait a second, was that? And, sure enough. And not
Yeah,
even just
that was
that,
a
like
joy.
the session streams like that I was watching through RFD
Hmm.
TV. I was like, wait, it was,
Those are my people.
yeah. So, that is the last question I had about nationals. So, I know you mentioned to me that you show dairy cattle, and
I
I've
do.
seen many pictures and all that um throughout the past, I guess, few months, whatever. So would you want to share a little bit about showing dairy cattle?
Yeah, of course. So that's another situation that they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I need to learn to ask follow-up questions." um, because I just get a text and they're like, "Would you like to show dairy cattle with us?" This is my advisor because her family has a dairy farm. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Maybe I should have asked some follow up questions like, when or where or how often. But I've been showing dairy cattle. Let's see. They asked me to show in the spring of my freshman year, and then I guess my first show was in the fall of my sophomore year. So this was my third year showing. I show with two other girls and one boy that just graduated. Both of them are named Abby and then Jesse. So Abby, Lucy, and Jesse is our show team. But it's been such a joy to show with them. We travel all across the state of Tennessee. We've won a few different things this year. We traveled to Mississippi. Like it's been so much fun. We don't go to Nail. We don't go to World Dairy Expo. I've had the opportunity to judge at World Dairy Expo for 4-H judging this past, or not this October, but the October before that. I've gotten to be on the Dairy Quiz Bowl team, but none of this would have been possible without my knowledge of me showing and without my knowledge from my advisor. It's been such a joy. That's really my main focus in my SAE, my supervised agricultural experience with FFA is my dairy showing. I lease my dairy cows, so we have a show string of anywhere from 9 to 15, and it's getting to travel with some of my best friends, and we just have so much fun in wherever we go and whatever we do. And it's been a lot of times it'll be Miss Moss, my advisor, us girls, and Jesse, and then Miss Moss's brother Will drive the truck. So getting to connect not just with our advisor but also her family, it's been really special, and it's a community that's outside of FFA, but it's a tight knit family. Like the other day was Mr. Will's birthday, and I was like, "Happy birthday, Will! Don't work too hard, even though I know you're going to." Like it's just like, and then he'll wish me happy birthday. Like it's just a family thing, and then. Like I know, like if I come out of the show ring crying, anybody is gonna hug me. Like if it's tears of joy, tears of sadness, they're gonna be right there for me, no matter what it's about.
I give like serious props to anybody that shows animals. Like the most I'll do with animals is have chickens and ducks. That's
No.
like I love them to death though. Like the little 15 chickens, 2 ducks, 2 turkeys that I have, like love them to death. Like it's so much work just for that. So I couldn't even
You can show them
imagine.
at the Delta Fair.
Yeah, I could. Um, no, because like it's so funny. So we were actually at the state fair for FFA day or whatever,
Mhm.
and I was walking around the little chicken booth or whatever thing that they had, and I was like, it'd be fun to have some of these. And I go home and proceed to drive up to Martin and buy 15 the next day.
That's
Um,
funny.
so I know you have had many opportunities with NFFA, and camp is one of those. Would you want to
Yes.
share a little bit about your experience from going to FFA camp?
Yes, of course. So this past summer was my second time going to camp. I went the summer after my sophomore year. And then we skipped that summer. Our chapter took a trip to Oklahoma. That's when I got to go be on campus when I fell in love with it. And then we went back this summer. I was like, please, Miss Moss, can we please go to camp? And she was like, yes, we can go to camp. I was like, okay, good, thank goodness. Because I really want to go to camp for my senior year. And she was like, yes, we can go to camp. So our chapter, I know some chapters do it differently. So when you go to camp, everybody has a member on camp council. I had the opportunity to be on our chapter's representative since I was the president, and whoever the highest officer is that is there. they get to be on camp council. So that was me this year. So I got to be on camp council, and I got to see some of my old friends from Gov School because I went like 2 weeks after Gov School. Actually, so going back to April, a couple weeks after I got announced as regional office was the regional forestry contest. I was there, and Abby Colley was there. Well, at that time, we had already known who else was going to Gov School. And so I was like, Abby, are you going to camp this summer? She goes, no, my chapter's going while I'm at Gov School. And I said, no. So I talked to Miss Moss. I'm like, Miss Moss, Abby can't go to camp. Do we have any extra spots? And she's like, yes, of course. I was like, can Abby Colley go with us? And she's like, yes, of course. So I go and I find Abby. I'm like, Abby, do you want to go to camp with us? And she's like, let me go talk to my advisor. So we go talk to Mr. Rogers, her advisor. And he's like, yeah, I guess that's fine. And so we transferred that spot over to Westview's name. And she comes with us to camp. So that was really fun getting to ride up with her and getting to expand that friendship. Um, and then getting to be on camp council with her and Ari Moda, who's of Stewart's Creek. She went that week with Rockvale, with Caleb Limpert. And then who else was there? Oh, Katie Lipford. She was there that week. She wasn't on council, but she was still there that week in our president's class. Um, Getting to see all those friends, old friends, new friends, getting to spend time with each and every one of them was a joy. Also, that week, Bolivar Central got to go, which that's where another one of our regional officers, Raquel Kirk, the reporter, is from. So I didn't know Raquel very well. Like, that was our first time. Like, we had at our meeting where we got our regional jackets. But other than that, we hadn't really spent any time together. So getting to spend that special 1 week together doing what we love with FFA, that was so much fun. Getting to know Raquel better. Plus, I went 4th of July week, so we got to fundraise for the fireworks show. So we raised, I don't know, a couple $1,000s for fireworks. And they said that if we had reached $1,000, that all of the advisors would jump in the pool, and they did. So that was really cool. They said if we raised more money, that they would have gotten more people to jump in the pool, but we didn't raise that much money. But we raised $1,000. All of our advisors jumped in the pool, and we got to watch the fireworks show with all the state officers and past national officer, recently retired Emily Gossett. She was such a joy to meet and to get to know. I loved spending time with not just her, but with all of our state officers, because the week I went, we had all 8 state officers there, which was another really cool thing. It was such a joy to be there at camp. And then I had the honor of being the camp council president that week, which is elected by our fellow camp council members. And it's an honor to be on the council, but it was an even more of an honor to be a part of that and competing in quiz contests and watching my friends grow through that week. Like, there were kids that walked in that first day with our chapter, and they wouldn't say very much and they didn't talk very much. And by the end of the week, they had been adopted into other chapters, and they're like, I'm going to visit them now. So yeah, I'm gonna go live in East Tennessee now because that's where my friends are from. And we're like, no, you gotta stay in Paris. Like, your mommy would not be happy with that. But it was so much fun.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go week 3 this year,
Mm-hmm.
and Abby Woodward was there and Alexa MacArthur were
Mm-hmm.
both there. And obviously, I knew who they were. We, interviewed all that kind of stuff. I was scared to get out of my shell that night because, they intimidate you in a way, and they're like, don't talk to nobody that, because, they don't want the questions getting out or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like a little intimidated. So I was, scared to get up and go around. But like that was the first time that I really got to interact with them, and
Yeah.
not only forming that relationship or connection, you could say, but getting to know Sarah or Lexi Rush, Shelby Wallace, and I think Emily Whitehead. All 4 of them were there
I
for
love him.
that. Like that was the best week ever. Like it was so exciting, and of course getting to make those connections with people from all across the state. I know there were so many that I ran into at national convention that I
Yes.
had met from camp. And it was just so, I guess, refreshing, you could say. I mean, I ran into one of them at the UT Martin preview day the other day. Like, you never
Oh,
know.
that's funny.
And I'm praising the good Lord at this point because the way that Governor School actually lines up next year is like it's from June 1st to June 20 something. I think
Oh.
28th. I think. And it just so happens that week 1 of camp is the week before that, so it was either that or
Oh.
like have to miss a beach trip and go to camp or something like that. So I'm like, maybe this will work out. We'll see how that ends up going. But I can't even express how thankful I am to get the opportunity to go, and I know everybody else can probably
It's
vouch.
truly life changing. Like, not just because everything is so moving about that week, but it's eye opening into seeing what other FFA chapters and other FFA members do, and getting to watch your own members grow in ways that you didn't know where they were going to at the beginning of the week. I know personally, um, I was thinking more about how am I going to grow through this week? How am I going to have the opportunity to meet new friends and meet new people? But then by the end of the week, I was like, wow, I was not the one that had as much growth this week. It was our freshman members that had the opportunity to grow. It was our sophomores that had been involved for a year but did not know what all of their FFA potential was, and that's where I found the most joy and the most like love in that week, was getting to have that community, and then your little happy grams at the end of the week, getting to talk to everybody. um that's always a joy, like just getting to read, like not realizing how much of an impact you had, I guess, but getting to see that your words actually meant something to people and that you have an impact even when you don't realize it.
Yeah, and you never know what's going to happen either. You may get thrown in front of about 240 people and have to give a speech. You never know. It's
I applaud anybody who does the extemporaneous speaking. You applaud livestock judging. I applaud extemporaneous speaking. That is not my forte. I'm a prepared girly. I need my 6 to 8 minutes. I will take a 6 to 8 minute speech if that means I don't have to give it impromptu. So
I love extemp. Like
oh, makes me
it's
want to cry.
it's so fun. I mean, the first time that I ever gave an extemp speech was at the regional clinic at Peabody High School in February or January, because I think it was like the day before my birthday or something. It was like
Oh
it
my
was right there.
goodness.
And I
It was
go
my
in,
mom's birthday.
but I go in and I'm like, okay, let's draw the topic. And then Molly Campbell from UT Martin's up there,
Hmm.
and I walk up and I draw a topic, or I think I draw like three, and I pick which one I think I could use and do better on. And the topics were really, really not my cup of tea, to say the least. So I settled on something for solar energy and how we can become
Oh, have
dependent on solar energy.
ah, that's a tough topic.
And when I tell you, I went back there and went over the time limit. Don't know how, but I almost gave a 7 minute speech when I only needed a 4 to 6 minute. But
That's
on solar
he said,
energy. Mm.
yeah, we love solar and no, that's okay. That's okay.
But the second topic kind of, helped me a little bit. It was about
There you
ag
go.
literacy and urban agriculture and all that kind of stuff. So it
Okay,
was
well,
right up my alley.
hmm
So
that's exactly what you needed.
yeah, it was interesting. I'm looking forward to this year though, to say the least.
No, I'm excited for this year. I love seeing, like, I know Sarah and Abby Colley. They were the ones that represented West Tennessee at state levels. Like, obviously Sarah's not gonna do it anymore. Who's gonna? And Abby Colley, like, you don't have a guaranteed spot, but it's fun to see who's new that's coming up and gonna rock the house out with employment skills and prepared, and like who's gonna pop off, who's gonna slay. Like, I'm excited to see.
So I guess moving on to the next question. So I know you do have a good bit left of, I mean, good bit. I guess you could say left of time in FFA. Would you want to share something that you're looking forward to most with like the upcoming, like I guess rest of the year in FFA, or the rest of your time in FFA rather?
Yeah. So, I mean, every day's a new day. I'm excited to see what all the opportunities that God gives me, and I'm excited to see how much who's going to be our next set of leaders for West Tennessee FFA, who's going to be our next set of leaders for my home chapter. Um, but of course, also that also comes with a new set of leaders for our state level as well. So I'm excited to go to state convention, see who's going to get elected for that. I personally, I'm not sure if I'm running yet. It's a big opportunity, big commitment, but it's something that I've been asked a lot about, but it's something that you have to think about. It's not something that you can rush your thoughts on. So, but beyond that, I'm excited to see my new friends, see my old friends. my friends that I've had since freshman year, my friends that I've had that I just made this year. But I'm also excited to compete. I'm competing in marketing plan, but I'm also competing in agri-science fairs. Those are two so far. We'll see what else the good Lord lets me compete in. See, we'll see if He wants me to be over my head busy or not. um, but I'm also like, this is a really sentimental year. Not only did I get to spend a week with these 8 state officers at um, state convention, but I also got to, or not state convention, national convention, but I also got to spend a week with them at FFA camp. And then I've been able to keep up with them because I've known some of them longer than they were in the association jacket. Like I know Eli Julian, we met at prep courses in January, and he and I, we're good friends. Like I've enjoyed getting to know him. I've known Sarah just because she's a West Tennessee gal. But but even like I didn't know Emily. I didn't know Lexi as much, and I've loved getting to know them. And I'm excited to see their RAs, like all 8 of them. I know I'm gonna be brought to tears during all 8 of them because they're all such good friends of mine, and I've had such good conversations with each and every one of them. Like we spent rope together. There's a lot of building yourself up and tearing yourself down that goes on at rope. Um, just because it's a journey that you go through. Like you have 36 hours, but you are torn down and built right back up in those 36 hours between learning how to do workshops, learning how to speak correctly, and learn how to represent your region to the best of your capabilities. But you know who's teaching you how to do that? Your state officers. So it's a joy. It's a joy getting to be a part of all of this, and I'm so excited to hear their retiring addresses.
Yeah, like the impact. I know I've said this multiple times, but like the impact that these 8 are going to end up leaving on everybody is going to be so profound. Like, if you see me in the room, listening to all 8 of them, and I look a hot mess, don't say anything, because retiring addresses and the installation of new officers are always something that just get me. Like, I don't know what it is. Well, obviously, it's you know
It's just so emotional.
yeah, but like it always hits me when they're doing their like, the installation and they're like, but like I guess this year it'll be like the first year that it really hits because yes, I knew the team from last year. I was good friends with a good bit of them. But this year like I knew them more, I guess you could say. Had more of a
Yeah.
connection and I'm ready for them, but I'm not ready at all because geez, I'm not looking forward to being a hot mess. Um
Yeah, especially this year because I don't know if you went to any of the prep courses. I know you. I know you're at least. Didn't you go
I
to at
went to
least the
Martin.
Martin
I
one?
did.
Okay, so I remember seeing you at that one, but it was just like I went to a lot of prep courses with these people. Like I have known these people since before they got elected, and then now I'm watching their association jacket your clothes, and that's like I watched them, like cheered for them so loud. Like there's videos, like I was filming because we had a state officer candidate this year and last year. So like I've really gotten to know both these sets of this year and last year state officer candidates because like I wanted to be a supportive friend. So like I got to know who else they were running beside, and I like it fills me like I'm so excited to see them. There's videos of me screaming "Wow!" as they get like as like they announce the 2024, 2025, whatever, 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 and I'm just so excited to see what all they have to say in their retiring addresses.
I don't even want to say what I sounded like when they were calling the names because it's so funny. We were sitting behind. Oh my gosh, I know the chapter's name, but I can't think of them right now. Well, we were sitting behind them.
That's a,
They had a state officer candidate, and they're all cheering, and they're just. And the names were getting called so fast. It felt like Weston was going 20 miles an hour when he really wasn't. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know her. Oh my gosh, it's this one. Like I was, it was it
no,
was such
it's
a
so
whirlwind.
surreal when you finally know them. Because it's like, oh, I've watched them put in that hard work. They so deserve to be on that stage. Oh, I've watched them. Yes, go. Yes. And I'm so proud of you. But then it's also really emotional to watch your friends retire off of that stage as well. So, I mean, it's like all of the emotions that day, the good ones, the sad ones, all of them.
It's gonna be something. Thankfully, it kind of is a good bit away, but at the same time, it'll be here before you know it. Unfortunately,
Blink of an eye.
yeah, it moves so fast. But I think only yeah, I have only like two more questions left, and these are more like advice wise like questions. So
Okay.
I want to begin off with this one. Like, what advice would you give to someone that is like preparing to run for a regional officer position, or is like maybe thinking about like running?
Yeah. My biggest piece of advice that I would have to give would be to breathe. Whether you're practicing an interview or you're just thinking about how, I know I got overwhelmed a lot thinking about how much work it would have to be and how much I haven't done and how much I didn't do this, but I have done this. And why did I spend my time working on this when I should have been concentrating on my regional officer stuff? Like, that's not important. Take a moment, breathe, in through your nose, out through your mouth, whatever you have to take, and know that it's all good in God's timing. It's all part of His plan, and that interviews can be intimidating. Whatever you're practicing, it can be intimidating, but you, and you know your facts, and you know all of the important things because you've been practicing for this. And if you're not sure if you want to run, just take a heart check. Like, it's up to you. Like, no matter what your advisor says, no matter what your friends say, no matter what the current regional officers say, it's ultimately up to you. It's your choice whether or not to run, and no one needs to pressure you to do either way.
I have enjoyed having you on the podcast today. Are there any like closing remarks that you'd like to give before we close it out?
I just want to thank you for having me on. It's been such a joy and a blessing to get to hear your podcast and then now get to be on it. I want to encourage all of our Tennessee FFA members and the National FFA members to just seek seek goodness in whatever you do, and to be a light and to be kind. And yeah, I just seek joy.
All right. Thank you for being on the podcast again.
Of
Uh,
course.
so thank you guys for listening. I hope y'all enjoyed this one and tune back in next week for the next episode. Thank you.